When I was diagnosed with diabetes, I was very scared.
Diabetes was something that we had in the family.
I was scared if I lost my sight, what is it going to mean? But I was always in denial.
His first course of action was to find out what the root cause of it is.
Couldn't there be something that he could do to do it himself?
Michael had to do what was best for Michael.
You want to reverse something that's incurable, you have to be a little radical here.
It's that he's responsible for his health issues. Heredity probably played a factor, but a lifetime of poor eating habits and a stubborn refusal to change his ways are the primary reasons Michael found himself with advanced diabetes. Even after doctors warned him of all the dangers the disease can present, including, eventually, death, Michael continued with his poor nutrition choices. It seemed he was determined to self-destruct. That is, until an optometrist confirmed his diabetes was affecting Michael's vision and would soon cause him to go blind. This startling revelation set Michael on a course of self-reflection that would take him face to face with the hard truth about his destructive relationship with food.
My emotions and food goes way, way, way back. In that period when I was re-diagnosed with diabetes, I kind of shut myself away from people. If I didn't want to deal with something, I could just always eat and just shovel food down. You know, it was part of my pattern because I would eat. In eating the heavy foods, I would go into sleeping, and sleeping meant I didn't have to deal with the world. My mother was dying of cancer. There was so much going on inside of me emotionally. And for me, food, which had always been a comfort for me, really became a comfort. I'd go to visit my mom's, I'd go to the hospital cafeteria, I'd have turkey burgers, I'd have this, I'd have that. Then I found they had the juice machine. And you know, that was just drinking pure sugar. Between the stress of my mother being sick, stress of work, and just eating the wrong foods, that was, you know, the worst of worst times.
Michael grew up in the 1950s and 60s on the west side of Long Island. He enjoyed school and by all accounts was a good student. He was equally enthusiastic about sports. He was active in everything.
In junior high school and high school, he played football, he played basketball, he played lacrosse.
Growing up in Long Island, you gotta remember something, there's a subculture here. You know, in Long Island and in Maryland, you know, young kids play lacrosse.
So yeah, he was always active, always into sports.
He was a great lacrosse player, really was.
Michael was intellectual, he was athletic, and kind of quiet and shy, but he'd smile and go out of his way to just let me know that he knew I was looking at him and smiling. He'd smile back.
He was the apple of everybody's eye. He was always happy-go-lucky. He just brought joy to the family.
One of Michael's greatest pleasures was food.
Stories about me eating were legendary.
Michael was the ultimate omnivore.
He always ate.
He ate everything but the "thank you, come again" on the menu.
Michael had always had this obsession for sweets. He said, "I'll make your cake like Grandma used to make." But the thing is, he would eat half of the cake before I could get to it.
But back in those days, I was very athletic, so it didn't really catch up on me, didn't really show on me because of my lifestyle then.
Diabetes was always something that we had in the family. And my mother would always tell me, you gotta be careful, you gotta be careful.
Yet, as a child, I had no idea what the sugar was doing to me. I had no idea what it could do to me.
While in college, Michael developed an appreciation for poetry and studied yoga. He explored spiritual and metaphysical teachings, but eventually he left them behind to pursue what most would consider a normal career path.
I wanted to go into the corporate world because I wanted to make my parents, quote unquote, proud of me. You know, when I look back on it now, I felt like that was the beginning of me selling my soul. It was a shift. It was more of a sedentary lifestyle. You know, with my worst weight, I had gone up to 285 pounds.
We were concerned When his weight started getting up, 230, 240, he's never been that heavy. We knew something had to change because he was definitely going in the wrong direction.
Michael continued to eat like he did when he was active, but now the pounds weren't coming off. The extra weight he carried started to cause health problems, so he went to see the doctor.
In 1991, I was first diagnosed with diabetes. And, I didn't take it seriously at all. I always thought that I could reverse it with diet, but I wasn't consistent.
He would binge. He would go no meat for 6, 8 months. Then he would eat hamburgers galore.
What I thought was a good diet there was still so much crap in it.
It was quite sobering. I didn't really detect a note that he was totally despaired. Michael is not prone to wear his heart on his sleeve, but I knew it was very serious.
I just didn't know what to say or how to really handle it. To see that now he has this sugar, which ran in our family, sometimes it skips a generation and everything. It really hurt me to my heart that it had to fall on him.
Mike has always been in and out of his diet, and this was about the call to either be in or out.
And in 1998, I was re-diagnosed with diabetes, and I was still in denial.
It was probably the lowest I had ever seen him, and it scared me because I could tell he was scared. He didn't seem to be in control like he usually was.
I had very good intentions, but I had very bad information. And as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Going to have serious consequences.
And back then, I didn't understand, what my A1C, what the scores were, what they meant. I didn't want to prick myself and take my blood sugars. Part of me was foolish. Part of me just didn't know the severity of it. Part of me didn't know the cruelty of diabetes.
It was really hard to accept. It really hurt me.
It was a scary time. Diabetes can rob you of limbs, rob you of your life, rob you of your sexuality. You can end up on dialysis. Diabetes will break down your whole system.
I was frightened. I was fearful because I thought that he would journey out if he did not truly anchor himself and shift his diet.
Doctors constantly wanted to put me on medication. I refused to go on medication because with the medication, there's always a side effect that you're gonna pay for. And then, I started noticing little things with the vision, started wearing glasses, and I just noticed the vision breaking down more and more.
He did explain to me that he was having vision issues. And with my limited knowledge of diabetes, I know that is often an effect that people have. So I was concerned about that.
In November, after I got diagnosed, I started shooting insulin. I started taking high blood pressure medication because the pressure in the eyes. I was losing my sight. At one point, the doctor said I couldn't drive.
He called me when he had this appointment with the eye doctor, and he asked me to come by and pick him up because they told him not to drive. He hadn't told me about his eyes at first. And when I went there and heard that doctor explaining to him that you could go blind and the things he was saying, I was totally upset.